Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about basic addition for elementary school math. So without further ado, let's just get started in with this video by talking about a really simple example that will hopefully lead you to understand addition a little bit more easily. So in this example, we have two people, Josie and Bob. Josie has 3 apples and Bob has 1 apple. Now, for this example, we want to find how many apples Josie and Bob have together, which means that we're going to have to add the amount of apples that Josie has to the amount of apples that Bob has. So first, let's see how many apples Josie and Bob really have. So Josie has these many apples. Let's see how many she has. She has 1 apple here. Josie has 1 apple here, a 2nd apple here, and a 3rd apple here, which means that Josie has 3 apples together. I'm just going to write 3 right next to her name. 3 apples. Let's go over to Bob's. Bob has 1 apple here, and since he doesn't have any more, we're just going to say that Bob has 1 apple. Now, in order to find out how many apples they have together, we need to combine the amount of apples they have in total. So we're going to draw a simple little diagram here. I'm going to bring Josie's apples and I'm going to bring Bob's apple. Because since we're adding the amount of apples that both of them have together, since we're adding them, it means that we combine the total amount. So I'm combining Josie's apples that are in this circle right here with Bob's apples that are in this circle. And Bob only has 1, remember. So now that we've combined the total amount of apples that Josie and Bob have, let's see how many they have together. So we have 1 here, a 2nd apple here, a 3rd one here, and a 4th one here. Which means that in total, Josie and Bob have 4 apples together. Okay, so let's review the problem that we just did. So Josie, she has 3 apples. Bob has 1 apple. What we did in order to find that they both had 4 apples was we added the 3 apples to Bob's 1 apple. So when we did that, we brought 3 apples, these 3 apples, we brought them over here. And then we brought Bob's 1 apple that was over here and combined it to Josie's 3 apples. And then what we did was we numbered off the apples to find out how many they have together. And we found that there was 1, 2, 3, and 4 apples that they have together. Let's move on to another example that is kind of similar, just with different numbers and still using visualization as a technique to figure out basic addition. So here we have John and Betty. In this case, we're dealing with bananas. Like I said, same type of example, just different numbers. So John has 2 bananas and Betty has 3 bananas. In this problem, we want to find how many bananas they have together. So what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to number off the different bananas. So John has 1 banana and a 2nd banana. So since we just found out that John has 2 bananas, I'm going to write that next to his name. 2 bananas. Now over on Betty's side, let's count how many she has. 1, 2, and 3. So we just figured out that Betty has 3 bananas. I'm going to write that next to her name. 3 bananas. Awesome. So remember what we did with Josie and Bob. After that, we determined that we had to add the amount of apples that they had. So now we're going to add the amount of bananas that John and Betty have. So remember, the symbol for addition is a plus sign, just like that. So we're adding the 2 bananas that John has to the 3 bananas that Betty has. And now we're going to draw our little diagram where we add the two amounts of bananas that we have. So I'm going to bring over John's bananas. So we have 2 bananas here, 2 bananas of John, and 3 bananas of Betty. Okay, so now that we have all of the bananas we need in one place, let's number it off so we can find out how many bananas we actually have together. So we have 1 banana, a 2nd banana, a 3rd banana, a 4th banana, and a 5th banana. So in total, just by looking at our final amount of bananas, we see that we ended up with 5 bananas. So in total, John and Betty have 5 bananas together. So 5 bananas is our final answer. I'm going to quickly go over what we just talked about in this example, just like I did for the one with apples, just so we can gain a better understanding of what we're talking about one more time. All right, so we started off with 2 bananas from John's side, and then we have 3 bananas from Betty's side, and we wanted to see how many they have together, which is why we decided to add the 2 amounts together. So what I did was I brought 2 of John's bananas, so these 2 bananas, over here, and then I got 3 of Betty's bananas, 1, 2, and 3, over here. So now that we have them all in the same place, all we had to do was count how many we had together in order to find that out. So together, all in this one big circle, we have both John's and Betty's bananas. And together, they amount up to 5 bananas, which is what our final answer is. So these were 2 examples of visualization to help us with basic addition. And if you're noticing, these 2 examples both dealt with objects that you can see. But now let's talk about using a number line to help us with basic addition. I have a bunch of examples here, and I have a number line. A number line is basically a line, as you can see, with numbers labeled on it. My number line is a little bit off, so I am going to move it a little bit, just so that it can fit properly. And as we're talking about this, you can see that a number line does not deal with hard objects that you can see and visualize. It deals with actual numbers that are together on a line. And this will really help you with any mental math that you may have to do in the future. And it's also an easier way to think about it if you don't like thinking about addition in terms of the objects like we did in the past 2 examples. So using a number line is actually pretty simple. If we have the problem 4 plus 3, the first thing that we're going to do is locate the number 4 on our number line. Looking at our number line, we can see that the value of 4, I'm going to use the color green. The value of 4 is right here on our number line. Now, in our example problem 4 plus 3, we have the plus 3 part that we need to worry about using the number line. So, if you count 3 on the number line, this is how it's going to go. Each space between each number counts as one digit, one value. And since we have plus 3, we're going to need to do that 3 times. So from 4 to 5, it's 1 time. Let me select a smaller brush so that you guys can visualize it a little bit better. So from 4 to 5, it's plus 1. Or you can just think of it as 1. From 4 to 5 is 1. We have 2 more left since we've only done one of the 3. From 5 to 6 is another 1, but we're going to label it as 2. And from 6 to 7 is the final one, 3. So now we've gone from 4 all the way to the number 7 by adding 3 spaces. And as I explained before, you can think of the space between each number as a value or as a digit. So the space between 4 to 5, this box is 1. The space between 5 to 6, this box is another 1, which makes 2. And the space between 6 to 7 is our final box, which makes 3. And then after we add 3, we end up over here at our value of 7, which means that we have just solved our problem and that 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. Okay, so that wasn't too hard. It's a little bit faster than visualizing and using hard objects. So I'm just going to erase this and we'll move on to our next problem, which is going to be 5 plus 4. So remember what we did the first time. 5 is our starting number, which means that we locate 5 on our number line. So now that we have found the number 5, our next thing to do is add 4. So again, I'm just going to mark it with a dot or with a underscore. So we have located 5. Now our next thing to do is add 4. So we're going to add 4 boxes. So remember, each box is a digit. Or you can just think of it as each space between each number is also a digit. So from 5 to 6, we have 1. From 6 to 7, we have another 1, which means that we put it as 2. From 7 to 8, we have 3. And from 8 to 9, we have 4. So notice that in total, the amount of boxes we have here in this space is going to be 4, because we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 boxes right here in this space, which means that we have added 4 to the number 5 right here. Again, so now that we have added 4, we look at where we have ended up, and we are here at number 9, which means that our answer to this problem is going to be 9. So let's fill that in. 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. And that's our answer. I'm going to erase this so we have a clean slate for our next problem, which is going to be 10 plus 2. So remember, our starting value is 10, so we're going to go all the way up, find number 10 on our line, underline it as our starting position. Go back to our problem, see that plus 2 is our next one, so we need to go over 2 boxes. So we go over 1 box, that's 1, We go over a second box, that's number 2, and we have ended up at the number 12 because we have gone 2 boxes in this space. So 2 boxes leads us to end up at number 12, and with that we have solved another problem. We're getting closer to the end now, just 2 more problems and then we're done. All right, so I'm going to erase this one more time because we have a couple more problems left. Okay, so our next problem is 1 plus 6. Now we're going to find 1 on our number line first. So we found 1. I'm just going to mark it really quickly. 1 is right here. And now we need to add 6 entire boxes to get all the way to our answer. So we go back to 1. Remember that we have to add 6 boxes. So let's go do that. 1, 2, second box. This is our third box, fourth box, fifth box, and our sixth box. If you are not working on paper that has these boxes, which is called graph paper, no need to worry. Just count the space between each number as 1 unit. So if you're going to notice here, the space between 1 and 2 is counted as 1. The space between 2 and 3 is counted as 2. 3 and 4 is counted as 3. So we're just counting the space between each number. So this is the first space we have, the second space, the third space. Let's continue on. This is our fourth space we have. And this is our fifth space we have. And finally, this is the sixth space that we have in total. So now let's look at where we have ended up. We have ended up at the number 7, which means that our answer to this problem is going to be 7. I think that this number line graph is a really easy way to transition from our visualization technique because you're still dealing with a little bit of counting, but now you're dealing with actual numbers instead of objects. So I highly recommend getting practice using this. We have one more problem and then we're going to be done. So let me quickly erase all of the work we have done for this past problem. And then we will get started on our last problem. Oops, sorry, I erased the 4. So our last problem is 7 plus 7. So 7 plus 7, we know that we're going to have to start at the 7. So we found our 7. Quickly, I'm going to underline it. And then we go back and see that our second digit that we have to add is also 7. So we're going to go back up. We're starting at 7. We know that we have to count 7 spaces and 7 boxes if you want to do that. So I'm going to give you a quick second to pause the video and try to solve this one by yourself and see if you can do it all by yourself, counting 7 spaces and ending up at our answer. So I'll give you a quick second to pause it. All right, so hopefully you were able to pause it and complete the problem, but now we're going to solve it together. So we were starting at number 7 where we left off, and we have to add 7 spaces or 7 boxes to get to our final answer. So let's get started on doing that. So we have 1 space here, another space here. This is our third space, our fourth space, fifth space, sixth space, and finally our last space, 7. Really quickly, just to go over it in terms of the spaces, here's our first space, our second space, third space, fourth space, fifth space, sixth space, and finally our seventh space. So you can do it in terms of the boxes, like I did up here. So these are the 7 boxes that we covered in order to get to our final answer, or you can do in terms of the spaces between each number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But in the end, you'll notice that we have ended up at the number 14, which means that our final answer for this problem is going to be 14. So I'm just going to box that as our final answer. And as you get better at addition and even subtraction, multiplication, and division, you're going to learn that there are certain tricks, certain things you can memorize to make addition easier. So for example, 7 plus 7 is equal to 14. This is something easy to remember because you're just adding 2 7s together, and you can memorize different numbers. For example, you can memorize what 6 plus 6 is. You can memorize what 4 plus 4 is, just to make your addition a little bit easier. But for now, I really hoped that if you were watching this, you learned a little bit more on how to do basic addition using the 2 techniques that we covered today. First of all, using a number line, and then second of all, using the visualization techniques, which is for extreme beginners who really just want to get a hold of what addition really means. But overall, I hope that you learned a little bit something from this video. Please recommend it to anybody who needs help with basic addition or who just wants to learn a little bit more, different techniques on how to do addition. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for a couple more videos, even in different subjects like English and science. We'll be sure to have those all ready for you. If you want to do a couple more of the example problems, go ahead and shoot us an email, and we will give you example problems for this video and any other video that you request. And you can send those answers to us, and we will be sure to check them over so that you can get your practice in for the videos that we are providing you. But other than that, I hope you have a great day. See you here next time.